Hi, Lorraine. Hi, Sophia. Let me see. Hey, Tatiana. Hey, Alethea, Lori. All right, we're gonna bring Sophia on. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, Coach.
It's so good to see you.
You too, in a different setting, right? In a different context tonight.
Very different context tonight. I'm so excited to talk to you because, we
Yes,
speak privately and you are such a wealth of wisdom. You're already laughing. We just saying we speak privately.
Oh man, yeah. I mean,
so let me do a proper introduction. So who I have on the line this evening, I'm really excited, is Mrs. Safiyah Singleton, and I'm excited that she is here because she is a counselor and a therapist in training, which means that within the next 5 months, you'll have your full credentials to do therapy. And
yes.
Psychotherapy. To do psychotherapy. So
yeah, I mean it's the same thing. So we use that word interchangeably too. We're called clinicians, practitioners, psychotherapists, therapists. So yeah, it's all the same though.
Sophia is also one of my favorite voices. So she's an amazing singer, and I just find it.
Why are you doing this tonight?
So I find it fascinating. Don't be doing that. We got to talk tonight about, overcoming stage fright, because for some people it's really, really debilitating. I started this new venture with Develop the Artist Within You, and there are so many people who are saying, I really want to do it, but they're paralyzed by fear. And it's one of those things where I think, mindset training is a little different from, when there's like real fear or like real anxiety that's debilitating you. I think mindset can kind of help somebody get ready for whatever is ahead and help them understand what it's going to take and get their mind in the right spot for what's ahead. And then there's the people that go, hey, I understand all that and I want to do it. I just can't. And so that is one thing that I wanted to talk about tonight. The other thing, and I'm just going to kind of let you flow because you know way more. I wouldn't even know where to start with like questions. I guess I could just start off the top of my head because I think about things like how to cope and things like that. But the other part of what I wanted to discuss with you tonight is being whole as an artist and a singer. I know because one of the things that you and I talk about is how many musicians just through experiences end up defining themselves just by their gift. And so they become like a fragmented person and not a whole person. And then it's like, everybody just knows me for my singing, but it's kind of like, well, that's all you really fully developed. And that's all you give to people. And so besides that, you kind of have to kind of grow up in all of these other areas and just help us. I don't know if that's a one night topic or if those are two separate topics, but we'll do our best tonight to, we'll just see. Yes, a lot of stuff going on. Those are things I'm super interested in, and we'll get to whatever. But the cool thing is I've already booked you to come back. So
yes, that means I'm already liked, and I didn't even say anything yet.
Yeah.
So, speaking on that, so I think that already, so I want to be very candid and just honest. I remember in speech class, this was when I was an undergrad, right? I'll never forget this because we all love stories, and narrative is always great for everyone to remember. And so my speech professor, she said, this is one of the number one fears, right? In the DSM, the word fear is not really used. It's phobia, but it's interchangeably the same thing, fear. In the Bible, we use fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
But phobia is what's used in the DSM as well as anxiety. But what she said was that stage fright, fear when it comes to people and speaking publicly or going before people. It's one of the number one fears, I know for sure, like in the US. So whenever people are presenting before others, it's this immediate anxiety or fear to stand before other people. And a lot of that has to do with us constantly judging ourselves and being judged. And a lot of us are not cognizant of how much we do that to ourselves. So what makes it even all the more exasperating is if the person is already a judgmental person and they're a hard critic, right? Another thing that makes it extremely hard already is if you're a perfectionist. So those little qualities can make or break you when it comes to fear and anxiety as well. Because we're always feeling the need to perform at our best, right? And we want to always be our best. But in a real world, I don't think anybody's ever. We have, like they say in our class, they say, work for perfect moments and not just a whole perfect performance, right? So if we can strive to work towards perfect moments versus perfect performances, we give ourselves more grace. We give ourselves more grace to learn. We give ourselves more grace to even make a mistake and keep going. Because it wasn't about the whole performance. It was about a moment within a performance, right? And so one thing that speech professor said was, picture your anxiety or your nervousness as butterflies that you just let out of a jar. And they're just out there floating and flying, right? And she says, so what we want to do is we don't want to gather them back into the jar, but we want to just create a space where they can stay within. Basically, it will never go away. But what you want to do is create in your mind mentally where you can gather it versus you feeling out of control, which is usually your far extreme of anxiety, which is when somebody goes into a panic attack. They are out of control, meaning the phobia, the fear, the anxiety has taken over them. They've gone to an extreme place of a panic attack. So they're out of control. That is obviously the most debilitating thing, right? For example, if you're singing, go up on stage, forget the words, start choking or something, or your voice cracks, and then you run off stage. Because that's enough to give us performers, some of us, an anxiety attack or a panic attack. And so things like that is, of course, what we're talking about tonight, because we want to know how to control that. And I just wanted to put that out there to normalize that. We want to control it, not get rid of it. So just remember that. You want to control the anxiety. You don't want to get rid of it. Because the truth is, we're all human. And there's always going to be a part of us that we will never predict. There are things that are always going to happen out of our control. And if we can lean into that versus always wanting to control every moment and think that we're going to control every performance and its outcome, we can give ourselves a little bit more peace in accepting that, right? So even like tonight, coming on here, I still dealt with it. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to say? No, you know what to say. Like, you're in this field. Well, you got this. And it was all there. But I had to be like, no, like, this is a part of it. You plan. You know what you're saying. This is what you do. You got this. And so one thing I'll say is self-talk is very important. Self-talk is very important. And I'm putting myself out there because it happens all the time. It happens all the time. So the first thing I want to kind of start with tonight is let's identify some symptoms of anxiety, right? And let me put this out there as well. So me sharing all of this tonight, some of this is directly from the DSM where we do diagnose, but I don't want anybody to take this as a means to diagnose yourself and then, go from there and go see a professional clinician or practitioner or see a therapist that can diagnose you and let you know, okay, this is exactly what you have. But we all deal with some level of anxiety as human beings. That is as well normal too.
Okay.
But then we go by certain criteria in the DSM. In those criteria, you meeting certain symptoms, then we diagnose you with, the different areas of anxiety, because there's a lot of them. I can't go through all that right now. But I just want to go through some of the symptoms so we can all kind of identify and relate to say, oh yeah, I know that one. Oh yeah, I deal with that one, right? So in performance anxiety, and performance anxiety by definition is just like an extreme nervousness experience during a performance or participation in an activity that's taking place in front of an audience. So some people experience performance anxiety in front of two people. Mm-hmm. Simply because they have an audience, they just get shy, they shut down, and all those symptoms. Being shy is one. So I already said that. So being shy is one. Becoming extremely nervous. How does that look? You're experiencing racing thoughts, rapid heartbeat, dry mouth, an inability to relax or focus, and an increased blood pressure for some. Like their blood pressure just starts rising. They have this jumpiness or feelings of faint. Clamminess, the body can start feeling clammy, sweating profusely, the hands become clammy. I know a lot of people have that one.
I get clammy hands.
And another one is the anticipation of trouble or something going wrong, and feelings of just uneasiness. Like, so your stomach feels uneasy and queasy. These are all symptoms of anxiety when it's time to perform in front of someone. So if you can relate with any of those are all signs of you having some sort of performance anxiety. Now, the DSM has some that I did write down that I wanted to share because I thought it was really good. This was one. It says the fear or anxiety is out of proportion to the actual threat posed by the social situation and to the social cultural context, right? Mm-hmm. So
sorry, I'm also on Facebook. Somebody just said, I love her.
So that one, I loved it because I was like, oh my God, that's like, like when you see someone walking down a hallway and then you see the literal image of the person, but then you see this big shadow, like that could be on the wall somewhere. This is how, I want people to catch that picture, because this is how sometimes some people are feeling with anxiety going on in their mind, what they see. So something that is out of proportion to what is actually in front of them in context. And this could be in your social setting, in context, right? And then the other one is the fear, the anxiety, the avoidance is persistent, typically lasting 6 months or more, right? So we also have, I can relate with this one because a lot of people probably on here know I'm a worship leader, I sing, and that's another thing. So as I talk tonight, I'm just not only talking as a mental health clinician or practitioner, I'm talking as an artist too, because I've been singing since I was 7 years old. And so I know firsthand what anxiety can feel like, because I remember in the youth choir, when my music director used to come to me and say, oh, Safiyah, we're singing your song today. Oh my God, just the fear, the uneasiness, the anxiety took over me, and I used to avoid it. So that was me. I used to go in the bathroom and hide, believe it or not. I used to go in the bathroom and hide, and sometimes I'd be in there praying and saying, God, please let him change his mind. Please let him change his mind. Please let him change. And I don't know, even to this day, I don't know what that fear was about. But it was just a fear of, I guess, performing in front of other people. And so another thing that can be so intrusive is what we are believing others are judging us for, right? So along with performance anxiety, you can believe somebody is judging your clothes. Somebody sees the broken button on your shirt. Somebody sees that lash that is hanging. Somebody sees your nose hair. You know, like somebody sees the lipstick on my teeth. Somebody's looking at my unpolished toe, right? Somebody's looking at my tore up jeans. Like all of these intrusive thoughts coming through our minds as we're trying to perform or as we're about to perform, right? And then there can be some that are internalized. Am I going to hit the right notes? Am I actually going to make that note? Oh my God, is my voice going to crack? Oh my God, what if they laugh at me? Oh my gosh, what if they don't like it? You know, what if they don't like this song? What if they don't like my speech? What, all of these intrusive thoughts begin to come through. Oh, and the number one, I think this was the number one for singers. What if I forget the words, right? So, and a confession out that, I'm going to tell on me, just 2 Sundays ago, and as long as I've been singing, I still forget the words to songs. So let's kind of normalize that too, like forgetting the words to songs, right? And what did I do in that moment? People are probably more interested in that process. How did I come out of that? So, number one, I was embarrassed. Because I'm like, oh my God, like I had a whole week to learn this song, but I was doing finals. I hope everybody's just forgiving of me right now. Even though it was a well-known song, right? Promises by Maverick City. Great is your faithfulness to me. That song. So I'm there and I sang the wrong words for the verse, not 1 time, but 2 times.
Lord.
And I really was embarrassed. And in the moment, all I said to myself was, you know what? Let me just continue to sing. Let me just continue to sing. I do know the rest of the song. Let me finish strong. You know, and I in that moment, I didn't want to make it about me anymore. I began to just just press through and go with confidence through the song. And ironically, when I'm done now, you know, everybody else was saying to me, oh, Safiyah, you did such a great job of praise and worship today. Like, oh my God, I didn't know you could sing that high. I mean, you did. And all that was going through my mind was that one mistake that I made. Mm-hmm. So we become so critical, so judgmental of ourselves. And we will think that everybody else is looking for those same things and judging us accordingly. When sometimes, I hate to say this because, you know, we're trained not to say this, but sometimes, let me just use what the DSM said. It's out of proportion to actually what is happening in context. Because I don't want to say it's all in your head. Let's not say that. Because for some people, that can be offensive mm-hmm. and lacking empathy. So we're going to say it's out of proportion to what is happening in context, right? Nobody was really thinking that. Everybody was thinking, you did a great job. Man, you touched my heart. You ministered to me. And we're the only ones.
Like, but didn't you tell that I messed up for like 8 measures right there? You didn't hear that?
Not at all. Not at all. They didn't even hear it.
It didn't matter.
So I just wanted to share that because it still happens. It still happens. And I didn't have a perfect performance, but I had perfect moments. Mm-hmm. And that was my way of leaning into the anxiety versus leaning out and allowing it to overtake me to the point where, you know, some of us will do that to the point where we won't even take the positive criticism, the positive accolades. We'll be like, oh, for real, but you didn't hear when I messed up? Uh-huh. Oh, for real, but you didn't hear when my voice cracked? Yeah, I'm going to call myself out before you call me out. Right. It's such a protective defense mechanism, right? Because we're so fragile with our emotions. We're just like, let me put it out there before they do so I won't, you know, crawl myself into a little hole with everybody else pointing it out. Well, it'll be that, or I feel like you're just saying that to my face. And when I turn my back, you're going to talk about how I messed up. So let's talk about it right now. So I don't have to think for the rest of my life that I know, you know. That is so true. Yes, that same thought comes in my head too. Like, you just said this, but you knew I got the words because it was right there on the screen. My Lord. So, truthfully, in those moments, though, we really have to give ourselves grace, right? Mm-hmm. And accept the fact that Yes, we had a perfect moment within the song, but maybe the whole performance wasn't its best, and that's okay. So one of the things that you can do to deal with performance anxiety is lean into what you're afraid of, or lean into those intrusive questions.
Mm-hmm.
What do I mean by that? So, for example, if you are asking yourself, this is more of an internal question, like, what if my voice cracks while I'm singing? Have you had that already, Delisa, where somebody will say, well, what do I do if my voice cracks?
Oh, of course. That'll make them not want to sing at all.
But what do you usually say to them just as the vocal coach? Like,
do it as I tell them, okay, if your voice cracks, like what changes about life as whole? Like, is the sun going to fall out of the sky because your voice cracks? That's what I'm saying. I ain't no therapist.
Okay, yes. Okay, so good. That's fine. So that's what the vocal coach would say. But the therapist would say, so what if your voice does crack? Tell me, how would that make you feel?
Oh, yeah, no, I don't do that.
Tell me, how would that affect your performance for the rest of the time that you're actually singing? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know why they're saying my sound quality is bad. I wonder if... No, you can hear me perfectly? Or
yes, I can.
So perfectly clearly. I don't know why they're saying they can't. I'll unplug my charger. I don't know if that helps at all. That's the only thing it's plugged into is the charger. So you guys let me know if that's any clearer. That's like literally
can't hear Delisa that well.
Or they're just, yeah. Sorry, guys. Well, I'm not really doing much of the talking. Okay, so.
Yes, and so what I was saying was that something that you can do, so like we were talking about a question, what if my voice cracks? Right? The regular people out there would just be like, well, if the world stops shining, you gotta keep going, right? But in the position of seeing the therapist, we would say, what if your voice does crack? What can you do to make sure the performance still comes out in a positive and excellent way?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we don't lean out, we lean in. What if it does? What are you prepared to do? Right? So one way of coping with anxiety is to teach one to prepare for it versus running and avoiding it. Mm-hmm. Right? Even when it comes to intrusive thoughts, we're taught to question those thoughts, externalize it. Question the very thought that is coming at you, right? Like I just said. So another one is, what is another one? What if I crack while I'm singing? What if you do? How does that make you feel?
I was so mad one time. That reminds me, I was singing back BGVs one time. And you know how like the band does like a break? I told this when I was on here with Jaleesa Faye, and the band does like a big break because they thought I was really singing, and my voice, like it was like a bam, and all you heard was literally, but the band like did a boom, like a breakdown. So it was just me because they thought I was about to kill it with some like dope whatever. I don't know, but it didn't happen. And when I was done, the artist's husband was like, you know, you did a really good job. I was so angry that he said anything to me about the performance. I know you laughing at me in the car.
I know you're gonna talk about me by my like that was awful. Did you hear that? And so, you know what? That's a good example. And so the question that I would say is, so what if they did say that?
That's true. I would feel some type of way about it.
So what as in don't care. I'm saying lean into it. So what if they did say those things? What would that do for you? Or how would that affect you?
I don't know. I wouldn't be happy about it.
Because a part of performance is us being accepted by our audience.
Yeah.
And us being liked by our audience.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a spectrum when it comes to acceptance and being liked when you are doing a service for others, right? But when that acceptance becomes all that you receive in regards to your value and what you bring, it's now negative. And then it has now taken over, not only just, it has taken over how you perform and what you will do. That's when those intrusive and judgmental thoughts will come right back again, and tear one down the next time again. So in a situation like that, what did you do to overcome that and say, because obviously you took back the mic again another day and say.
I did, but I never forgot that. And to this day, I think they remember it. So I'm still slightly bothered. Like I want another chance. Like I wonder like what that song was. That I'm not okay with it. And to be honest, I adjusted. I think what I learned that day, and I don't think this was necessarily positive, was it took me a long time after that to take risks vocally. So I don't think I can't say that
your confidence was affected.
Yeah.
Because it took you a while now to get back to a place where you say, let me try something vocally.
Yes. In front of people.
Let me color the song right here a little bit differently than.
Yes.
Right. And so in that process, what built up that confidence though? There's something you had to keep doing.
Oh, you have to keep doing it. You have to keep singing. And then I feel like the more I sang, the more I got comfortable with my voice, the more I got confident with my voice's ability.
Mm-hmm. And what I like about sometimes, let me just say it, what I like sometimes about losing your voice, even within a note, is for some, it actually just works. It can almost come off for some people as a rasp, like, oh, you're like, oh my God, okay. And everybody else is thinking, oh, while you're the only one that really viewed that or knew of that to be a mistake. Mm-hmm. But you did what needed to be done, which was you kept singing.
Yeah, and so I look at performers like Mary J. Blige and like Fantasia, and I see fearlessness. Like they're both equally fearless. I just think one has a better skill set than the other, but I feel like they both just lay everything out there. And I look at them and I admire that. Like, I wish I was fearless enough to just go for it.
Right. And so that has everything to do. What if I told you that has everything to do with you and not your audience?
I believe that. I can see that.
It has everything to do with you. But you know why? Because you're already loved. You're already accepted. Now, it took some time for you to even get to that place where you can say, do they even like my voice? Do I really have something to offer out here? Like, these singers out here like a dime a dozen, right? But there was something you also had to do to get to that place of confidence, which is you had to listen to yourself. You had to like your voice, right? So another part of preparing for performance anxiety is you liking you liking your sound, you accepting your sound, right? You perfecting your sound. So something else that can help one cope with and kind of treat or subside some symptoms of performance anxiety is preparation. Preparation is very important to performance anxiety because you will have more confidence when you're prepared. Mm-hmm. You have more confidence when you're prepared. The more you listen to your voice, you accept it for what it is. You know what you can do. You know what you bring to the table. And the truth is, it never took anybody else to accept you. It took you to accept you.
This is true.
And that's when it's almost like that domino effect. That's when everybody loved you.
Yeah.
But you were always here with the gift. What changed? It wasn't your voice. Your voice, your voice would change in regards to the maturity of it and the way that you use it. But as far as the tone and the quality and everything, that's all the same. So it was really you that became confident in the gift that God gave you, that you were able to now perform at this level. And people are just only embracing what you're giving them and what you already had. And so all of that is the more of the mental work, right? You really do have to. You have to be the one to tap into how do you feel about your voice, and that's probably not a question that you ask your clients because you're just here to train their voice and do your thing. But maybe now it could be something if you see it rising, you can ask the client, how do you feel about your voice? What do you think about your voice? Because it really does matter.
It does. And I find myself being a quasi-therapist sometimes because I notice that they're filtering everything I'm saying through their idea of themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then I notice if I'm meeting with you week after week and month after month and there's not a lot of growth, that means that there's things that I'm saying that are just either you're hearing it, but you're filtering it through what you already think of yourself. So if I tell you to do something, you're not going to actually practice it that way because in your mind, that's not how your voice works. That's not what your voice is capable of. That's not going to sound good. That's not the way you're going to grow because your voice can only do this. You can only do that. You'll only be able to sing like this anyway. So everything is kind of filtered through what you think about yourself. And I do find myself, having to have those kinds of conversations if I'm ever going to get progress from certain people.
And so identifying, it's true that it's almost like I'm thinking to myself, what more could you say to a client? You couldn't say anything else. They actually need to go do the self-work.
Yeah.
They have to go do the self-work. Lean into what is it that is stopping you from performing at your best. And again, it's not what's happening externally, it's what's happening internally. What are those thoughts that you're experiencing? What are those intrusive thoughts and those insecure feelings that you have, right? Another reason why a lot of people have performance anxiety today too is because they compare themselves to too many people. You are not Kim Burrell. I'm not Kim Burrell. And neither do I want to be. But it took me a while to get there, right? At one point, who didn't want to be Kim Burrell out here, right? But I had to accept that at some level. I'm not her. So then after that, okay, well then who am I? What do I am? Right? I need to get comfortable with that. I need to explore that. So it's those questions that we really have to sit with.
I definitely think it's a matter of loving the sound that's coming out of you first. Like if you love your sound, if you accept your sound, you're going to be freer to share it. You're going to see it as sharing it with people. You know what I mean? And not, I don't know, this intrusive, offensive thing.
If you're doing the opposite, you will never. Because you will never sound like the person that you can admire or that you're inspired by. You won't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're sitting around waiting for someone to accept what you're offering, you are going to frustrate yourself and your gift.
Yes.
It doesn't work that way. You really do have to love you to love others, accept you so that you can be accepted by others.
This is so good. I have a question. Is there, I mean, obviously there's no quick fixes in therapy, but I wish there were, because I'm sure people are thinking this. So first of all, we had a very hilarious question and I'll get to that in a second. But are there, it's gone. Hold on.
Okay, so you want me to give you some?
Yeah. Okay. So when people go into, so people get scared, the fight or flight, right?
Fight or flight.
And then the people that choose flight, how do we get them to? Do you want them to go to fight mode, or do you want, like, how do you get them to stop running away? Like, what helps them stay put? Is it kind of walking through all of these thoughts that we're talking about over time? Because I say this is what I tell people. Keep creating the scenario that you're afraid of. And the more you create the scenario, the less fear you will have toward the scenario.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. So in our words, that's kind of the same concept of lean into that fear. Don't lean out is to flight, right?
Okay.
But to lean in is to fight.
Got it.
Right? So it is that same concept of let's lean into it. Let's talk about it. What if this does happen? Right? Some of the same questions that we were talking about already. Like, what if your voice does crack? Okay, well, what if they do laugh at you? You have to literally almost go there with them to face it, not run from it. And so it's almost like that same thought. The better prepared you are for what somebody can and maybe even will do during a performance while you may be doing your thing, you can prepare how you're going to deal with that. You can gird up yourself mentally of how you're going to deal with that, right? So for me, okay, for example, if I'm singing and I can see people giggling in the back, that can give me performance anxiety. And I'm sitting there like, they don't like this, they're laughing at me. Yeah. That right there, that intrusive thought, I have to be the one to combat that and say, what if they are? Will you stop singing, Safiyah? Or another thing that we do is we use humor too. Laugh at yourself sometimes. It was funny. Your voice did crack. Laugh. Don't go so hard. Don't be so hard even on yourself. Right? So laugh at it too. Oh my God, my voice did crack. And I'm one for that. I'll lean into the humor. But I mean, it's just another means of coping and leaning in versus flight, running from it and just saying, and believe it or not, this is how a lot of people shut down their gift. Yeah. Simply because of things just like this, they completely shut down their gift and they're nowhere to be found again. You know, because of sometimes the anxiety that they have experienced through performing in front of people, they shut down their gift. Yeah. And you wonder, okay, what was it? It was the fear, it was the phobia, it was the anxiety. They just couldn't deal with it. So that is avoidance altogether, which is a defense mechanism too. Just avoid it altogether. Is there a way you can go backwards in progression as an artist? Do you think it has something to do? I can't see the whole question. Oh, do you think it has something to do with the mind? Okay, so let me read it. Backwards in progression as an artist. I mean, the first person that comes to my mind is Shania. Okay, I think about like Shania Twain. I don't know if you remember a few years ago, she had like a terrible divorce, real super messy. And after that, she just couldn't sing at all. Like she couldn't phonate physically. And that to me, I feel like maybe that's what they're talking about. Okay, so in that case, I guess that's a both and, right? Because it could be both what is happening to her around her gift in her life, and it could be what has happened to her gift. So, for example, Whitney Houston, because of substance abuse, it began to, demolish her gift. It wasn't even the same. So I'm sure the lack of confidence, all of that, and just the gift not being the same, that was a step backwards. But for example, you using Shania Twain in her situation, so that's a good avenue to walk down, right? Some of us, because of what we are experiencing personally, can affect us and our gift, right? I don't know if you've ever encountered maybe somebody bleeding all over the stage, and a lot of people knowing something else is going on with them. It probably has nothing to do with their gift,
Mm-hmm.
but it's what's happening in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So I am just assuming it probably could be a bold for Shania Twain, where it was what was happening in her life. Probably she just leaned out of the whole thing altogether and said, I have nothing to offer the world or maybe even my life anymore. But I would definitely need more context to say, give a clear answer like a yes or a no. Now, one more thing. Singing is a sport. Delisa, you know this.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go backwards in your gift when you are not continuously using that gift.
Mm-hmm.
Because your vocal cords is still a muscle. It needs to be used. It needs to be strengthened. All of those things. Because it can be abused as well. So singing is a sport. And so you can go backwards in the agility, the gifting, the way you can use your voice if you're not using your voice and your gift. So in that way, yes, you definitely can go back. So if you sing, keep singing. Don't stop singing, because it's going to take some time to get back to that place if you were maybe powerfully using your voice and effectively using it, and things that your voice can used to do, the agility and the speed of your runs and things like that begin to slow. And you're like, wait a minute, what happened? Well, maybe you slow down in your singing. Which is probably what has caused you to go backwards in your artistry.
Somebody said Shirley Bassey lost her voice after her daughter died. She needed a vocal coach to get it back because she was grieving through her voice and couldn't get anything out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the funny one that I saw, I think that somebody, it was kind of funny to me. I'll read it. I'll just read it. It was when we first got on here.
I'm already laughing.
My partner and I are having problems in the bedroom because I have performance anxiety.
You know what?
I have tried meditation so far and working on my breathing. Please help, Delisa. I don't think it was that kind of.
I just want to ask you, who is that? Because my sister called me ahead of time and told me to please let everyone know that this is not about sexual performance anxiety.
No, it says Ravindra. It looks like looks like a Indian name. Ravindra looks like a troll. I'm not even gonna lie, it's a troll.
Okay, so what I will say to that is a whole nother diagnosis in the DSM. Please see a professional sex therapist about that, because they can't help you. But some of the symptoms are the same that go with performance anxiety.
That's hilarious.
Oh my God.
Oh
man. So the other part, kind of going into the other part of what you were talking about at the beginning when you said ways that we can present ourselves as more than our gift. I think that is so important, because I think a lot of artists hurt when it comes to just feeling abused and misused, right? When a lot of times we have never discovered who we are beyond our gift. When all we've presented to the world, maybe since we were a child, is our gift. And then, I don't know about anybody else, but like in my family, so I was known as, sit a singer there, I just sing that. So that was all it was, right? And so when I'm just identified as only my gift, sometimes I can forget what else I offer to the world, because me being a singer didn't get me married. You know, me being a singer didn't get me a job really outside of if it was a job for singing, right? I had to have more to me than just my gift. And a lot of times when we're only presenting our gift to others, we can become isolated and abused and misused. We begin to question, what else do we offer the world? Because that's all they've ever known us for, or to be. And so the other part I want to address just with artists is a lot of artists deal with personality disorders. And it has a lot to do with a lack of nurture and care in our character, that simply sometimes we just got by with because we were gifted, right? So we could be the ones to get away with a bad attitude simply because you were gifted and we could just hand you the mic. We could be the ones to get away with being unkind, simply because you were gifted and people liked your gift. And we hear a lot, even preached in church. We hear a lot preached in church. Oh, your gift will help you get through the door, but your character is what keeps you there, right? And it's a very true statement. But sometimes beyond your gift, who you are, somebody can speak well of who you are before they even find out about your gift.
Yeah.
And so sometimes character can get you through a door too, right?
Yes, this is true.
Character alone, your kindness, your gentleness can get you through a door. Sometimes before your gift can. I don't know about anybody, but sometimes I make it my business. Like if I go places and I sing and I'm ministering, I make it my business sometimes to turn around to the musicians in the background singers and tell them thank you. That goes a far way because I don't just see you as singers. You're people with a gift that came out here to help me out. So there's some kindness there. There's some servitude there. And that's what I'm saying thank you for. I just don't see your gift. And I think that is so important because we have to present ourselves as more than our gift. It's not anybody else's responsibility. It's our responsibility. So we don't need to be known as people who, that's the singer there, but outside of that, she is really cool. She's such a kind person. Have you met her? She's so down to earth. She's so humble. I mean, beyond that, do you know that she does this, she does that.
People, it's funny because when you say that, I think about people's reaction to the fact, if I post that I've cooked, you cook? It's like, do you guys really?
You have other roles. You're like a whole mom. You're a whole auntie. You're a whole daughter out here, right? But nobody sees that. They just see.
And the good thing is, I know that. Yeah, but the good thing is I know that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I have made the effort to make my life well-rounded so that I wasn't defined by my gift.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it speaks, like I said, it speaks so much volume because, like I said, your kindness can get you through a door.
Mm-hmm.
The way you respect and honor others. All of those things, because some people can say, well, have you met this person? They have such a great personality.
Yeah.
Right? No, I would rather anybody say that about me first before they say, have you met this person? Man, she can sing. And then usually the other thing happens, but they have such a bad attitude. They are so rude. They're so disrespectful. They're such a diva. They're such a divo. So there has to be so much more to us. And again, we are the ones that have to create and paint that canvas for other people to see.
Mm-hmm.
If all we present is our gift, yes, that's what people will see. But let's be more than that so that we won't be put in those positions where we're only called on because they got a booking and they want to talk to you. Like, Jaleesa, you call me outside of voice. We call each other because we're sisters and we have other things we talk about outside of voice.
Yeah.
Now, if you just knew me as a matter of fact, how did we meet? It was your birthday event.
Yeah.
I didn't know you from anywhere.
I think I had seen your name online a couple of times. And then, literally your name, because I think you sang at an event or something like that. And so I had literally literally scanned your name a couple of times, but I would have never been able to spot you on. I would have never known who you were. And then you came to my event. And I still didn't know who you were. And then I asked you to sing, and then you sang, and I was like, who is this? And then, I was like, oh, crap, she can really sing.
But it went far beyond that for both of us. It was like our personalities, who we were as people, clicked more than just our gifting.
Yeah.
And I'm not one to go and highlight my gift in a room. I'll just show up. And if they're like, does anybody know how to sing in here? Then maybe I'll say, yeah, what y'all need me to do, right? But I can present so much more of who I am than my voice. How many singers can really say that out there? How many musicians can really say that out there? You have more to present to people than just your gifting.
So that's really good, because that makes I hope that this helps ease people's anxiety about being a good singer, because in your journey of becoming a great singer, it's okay to also become a great chef. It's also okay to love bike. Like, I love riding my bike every day. Y'all know I do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love to cook. I love to, I love to do a lot of things. I actually, whatever, it doesn't even matter. The point is, it's okay to be good at a lot of things, so that while you're trying to, get good at this thing, it's not the only thing that's kind of swallowing you up and you're trying to identify yourself by this one thing. Because even those of us who are at a high level, it's not healthy for us to define ourselves by this one thing. You look at people like Simone Biles, who is the best gymnast in the world. And she would not be the leader that she is if she defined herself by just her accomplishments in gymnastics.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
She's a great leader because she's a good sister. She's a daughter. She has boyfriends. She travels the world. She knows when to take time off. She has boundaries of her time. All of that stuff, I think, makes her more valuable in her field. That's important.
Absolutely. And I think that becomes even like a catalyst for people loving you all the more on a stage.
Yeah.
Because they're able to see the other sides of you, or see all, some other, not saying that everybody should always, but sometimes when people do encounter you and they're like, oh my God, I just love them. Oh my God. They're a singer, but like, have you been to their parties? Like, they throw the best parties. Like,
that's me.
They're so great in servitude. Like, like there's so much other things.
Yeah, that's one thing that I like doing that people are surprised. Like, Miss Delisa, you really like throwing parties, or like you like having gatherings. Like, this is your thing. Yeah, it's my thing.
That's kind of in our Jamaican blood,
It is. My grandma. To this day, okay, she will literally cook up so much food and then just call everybody, come get some fish. You want fish? You want this? It's like, grandma.
Yes, hospitality.
Yeah.
So definitely highlight other giftings besides just what you do on that stage. Present yourself in other areas, just to know that you are loved and you are accepted outside of just that gift.
Yeah.
Too many artists out here are lonely today because all the world has ever loved them for was their gift. And sometimes because they have never taken the time to present more than that to people, even to their loved ones, like you said. When you find out they're so mean to their own family members, like how you out here giving to everybody else, but you don't even give to your own family members. So love, charity, all of that begins at home, right? So all of those things help cultivate more of a holistic and whole artist.
Yeah.
That way you're loved in maybe all areas of your life, and just not called on, like I said, for, hey, I got this book in, call me up, So it's definitely important. And above all else, I mean, we're Christians, so we know how that works in regards to character, right? Building up ourselves, loving others.
You're not exempt. Gifted people are not exempt from reading, understanding, and applying the Word of God.
Absolutely.
Sorry, train going by, windows open.
It's like core values.
Yeah.
Be more than your gift. Core value. Be more than my gift.
That's awesome. Myself as more than my gift. You are definitely more than your gift. You're such a wonderful person.
Thank you.
You are. You're such a wonderful person.
I'm glad the day I met you. And I never got to tell my part. So, like, I didn't know who you were at all. And I was just like, oh, there's this singer in town. I see she's advertising. Let me go support. Didn't know her out of nowhere. I didn't know who you were. And I came because it was your birthday. And I was just like, let me go.
That's hilarious. You really didn't know who I was.
Yeah, and this is what our relationship has evolved into.
I always wondered how you ended up at my event.
I just saw it being advertised, and I came.
Then you just showed up. I remember you just walked in. I was just like, who are these people? Wow.
But yeah, because I said, here's an opportunity to get to know somebody new, get to see some more talent. You know.
Wow. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, we all sang and stuff. and then we talked for almost an hour afterwards. I don't even know if you remember.
I remember us being there a long time. I remember having cookies with whipped cream for everybody. I remember having like the little.
It was good though. It was really good.
Thank you. I was like, I don't do birthday cakes, so I did cookies with whipped cream.
Yes. I remember.
And they went too.
And we spoke about our Invisalign. I was like, I have Invisalign too. Yeah.
I don't even remember that. I remember Wade really liking you. And then when I came back, I think it was a few months after that. That was when you sang. I'm always going to share that video of you, by the way, of you singing Change. I will share that for the rest of our lives.
You shared that?
I absolutely have. I've sent that to several people. Like, this is my friend Safiyah. She's one of my favorite voices, and this is why you need to listen to this. Y'all, Google her on YouTube. She's singing Change. Her voice is amazing.
Delisa, somebody's asking can they sing a song. Is that a troll?
No. I don't think.
Sorry, I'm just asking. I don't know. Somebody said,
I feel like we should. I don't think it's a troll. I just don't think that it's the best fit.
It's not the right setting.
It's not the right setting for this particular conversation.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry, whoever. I was just asking because I didn't know.
But I appreciate you being so forthcoming. I'm sorry if you were overcoming your own anxiety to put yourself out there.
Oh, what you mean for tonight? No, I wanted to share it because
no, not you. I'm talking to the person that we just denied access.
Okay, cool.
Come next time. Most of the time, I am doing a talent show.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, and example. And then what am I going to do? Tear him down and then he's going to be scared to come back. I'm not going to do that today on this live. It could go well. It could not.
This is wonderful.
So I'd rather not venture into the unknown and leave it the way it is on tonight. But come back next time. Come back on Thursday. So, Safiyah, this was amazing. Thank you so much.
Yes,
You're
I just
amazing.
want to do one thing to wrap this up because I never like to leave people without resources.
Of course.
So if you do find yourself on the extreme of experiencing like performance anxiety, and even some people may have even it's social disorder anxiety as well. Seek a therapist. I'm one to promote therapy. We can pray and go to therapy. Three resources that I always say is Psychology Today. You can put your zip code in and you can find psychotherapists and therapists right in your neighborhood, your local area, to get things going, get the ball going in regards to talking about the treatment and the help that you may need to overcome some of the anxiety and the phobia that you may be experiencing. Another one is BetterHelp. And it was one more, goodtherapy.com. Goodtherapy.com. So those are all resources where you can seek out professional mental health workers that can help you with anxiety.
Awesome.
Don't call me yet. Don't tag me yet. Don't DM me yet, y'all, because I'm not fully done with school, and I don't like to put myself that there's more than what I am. I'm an intern therapist right now with a lot of knowledge, and so I'm just giving.
Y'all follow her.
I will start seeing clients January 2022.
January is right around the corner, so you guys bookmark this, follow her, because as soon as she is ready, she is definitely going to be part of the Develop the Artist Within You program, and she's going to be one of our modules for our clients. So I'm excited to bring her on board. Like I said, whenever she is ready, because she is a woman of integrity. I would take her right now, but you know, I understand, you know. She's amazing. Thank you so much, Safiyah, for coming tonight.
Oh, and one more thing. Let's address the spiritual, because I just can't leave that out.
Okay.
You know, the Bible does tell us God has not given us the spirit of fear, right? So what I love to tell people is you don't have to accept anything that God is not giving you. That's an indicator right there. You don't need to receive it into your life, and you don't have to allow it to stay there. Sometimes it is a strong prayer of rebuke in regards to the spirit of fear as well, that can have that spirit to lead you, right? And that's an authority that we all have as children of God, to tell the spirit of fear to leave us alone, right? And not accepting anything that God has not given us. He's given us the spirit of love, power, and a sound mind. So that's what we accept. That's what we will receive, and that's the spirit that we will operate in, because that's what God has given out. So I just had to say that.
All right. I can't wait till you come back. They love you. Amen. Yes. Somebody said a whole word. Somebody said hallelujah, a whole word for our whole life, period, and amen.
That did help me overcome. Sometimes it's just leaning in as well to the spirit of God, to be like, you know, what I can't do, God will do through me, right? And for me. Some people even call that confidence, right? The confidence is just not only in my ability and what I can do, but it's in who is using me and who is in me, right? And that's so much greater, and that's a relief.
And who created the gift?
On you. Huh?
And I said, and who created the gift? And when you truly have yielded yourself to God's use, then now, like you said, you've put the burden on God to make it happen.
What a relief.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
why do I feel like singing now? You just made me want to sing. Good gracious. That was beautiful. All right. Good night, you guys. They love it. You see all these hearts going up?
Thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back.